Hey everyone, it's Jill, the Wandering Stamper, coming to you today to show you how to make a fun 3D corner pop-up card. Please bear with me, I've caught a cold from my grandchildren. They went back to school and of course they're sharing kids, so they shared some germs with us. So I'm going to try to get through this with as little coughing and sneezing as possible. But we're going to be playing around with the Zany Zoo stamp set. I love the stamp set. It's so much fun, and the paper. And I'm going to show you a really cool card that somebody is going to love to display on their counter when they receive it. So I'm going to point the camera down and we'll get started. So as I mentioned, we're going to play with the Zany Zoo Cling stamp set. I love this. It's so playful and fun. And it comes with the Zany Zoo, well, you can buy it as a bundle with the Zany Zoo dies or a suite, which also comes with paper. These dies cut out so much more than just the stamp sets. Much of, at least one image from each sheet of the designer paper has a die that will cut out the little animal. They're also very easy to fussy cut. This paper is absolutely adorable. I've almost used up this whole pack. It's a lot of fun to play with, so I've decided to use that today. And we're going to be creating, as I mentioned, a 3D corner pop-up card. So this card is so very cool. So we're going to start out with some cutting. I'm going to try to only clear my throat and not cough, because I know it's annoying to hear somebody coughing. So we're going to use basic black as the card base, and I do this because we're going to be using this background paper right here, and it just kind of makes it all pop. We're also going to be using Pool Party, which I'll show you. We'll pull in some of the little animals that I'm going to use, so this will all pull together nicely, but the black background goes really nicely with this card. So we're going to start out, we're going to swing this arm out and cut this black paper at 8 by 8. So 8 by 8. All right, get back in my camera view here. So once we have it 8 by 8, we're going to do a little scoring. We're going to score it into 4 quadrants, so we're going to score it at 4 inches all the way through. And then we're going to turn the paper and score it at 4 inches. All right, and then while we have it here, we're gonna cut the bottom score line from where we cut the middle to the bottom. So I'm just gonna drag my cutting blade up until I get to that score line, which was right at the 4-inch mark. I mean, if it's easier for you to stop a little bit before, you can do that, and then just use your scissors to go the rest of the way, and that'll just help you not go too far. So we have 4 quadrants, the bottom is cut. So now we're going to score from the top, from this score line that's in the top middle down to this score line, which is on the side. We're going to do that for both pieces. So you're going to score here and we're going to score here. I know you can't see it on camera, but I'm just lining my score lines up to the middle of the track as best I can. And then I'm just going to run my scoring tool. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Just lining up your score marks. Just like so. So now I've got a score here, a score here, a score here, and a score across. Easy peasy. So now I'm going to fold this forward. So I have this folded. Grab my bone folder. You want a nice crisp edge, so go ahead and go over that with your bone folder a couple times. And then we're going to go the opposite way and fold that in. Give it a good crease. All right, because it's going to ultimately close like this. And now we're going to want to take those 2 triangular folds, and this is a great time to make sure you scored properly. Make sure everything's nice and neat, and go ahead and give that a good crease. And do the same thing for the other side. And just before you crease it down, just make sure everything's lined up nicely, because you know we don't always score perfectly, we don't always cut perfectly, so it's a good chance to fix it. Okay, so we've got these folded outwards, everything else is folded inwards, so when you fold it, it looks like this. All right, so we're going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to talk about the middle. So the layers for this card, you're going to have cardstock that's going to go over the base. Again, I picked Pool Party. I've already cut these for you just to save us a little time, but you're going to cut 2 pieces of Pool Party at 3 3/4 square. And what I like to do, because we're cutting several things, I'll just take my pencil and write 3 3/4 on my 2 pieces and set those aside, because I want to be able to easily tell which layer is which. And then you're going to also cut 2 pieces at 3 7/8. So I just wrote 3 7/8 on these 2 pieces. And this is just to keep all of my pieces straight. Then you want to grab your designer series paper layers. You're going to cut 2 pieces at 3 1/2 inches. So I chose this pattern. I like it because there's no direction to it. You don't want to use, because these are going to be cut diagonally, it would be a little wonky to have a pattern. So I like to pick a pattern for this that doesn't really, it's an unpatterned pattern. So there's nothing linear about it. So we're going with this one. And then you're going to also cut, and I put 3 1/2 inches on there, so you would know which one that was. And then you're going to cut 1 piece at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So these are all squares. And what I did with this piece is I went ahead and grabbed my alcohol base markers and colored in some of these flowers. I didn't worry about the middle because there's going to be something over it, but I colored in some of these flowers to pull in the colors that we're using in our little embellishments. So that's done ahead of time. So we have a 3 3/4 square, one of those, 2 3 1/2 inch squares, 2 3 7/8 inch cardstock squares, and 2 3 3/4 cardstock squares. So these are all cut. I'm going to set these aside. Now the next thing you're going to want to do, once you have all of your pieces cut, is you're going to grab the designer series paper that was 3 1/2 inches, which is this one, and I'm going to go ahead and erase my 3 1/2 now because I'm going to be cutting it. And you're going to cut that diagonally. So you can cut both of them at a time if you'd like, at once. And I'm just lining up my corners as best I can. You want to try to get this right. And then if you lay, a little trick, once you have your corners lined up, lay your cutting blade in the middle so that you don't squish up your corners and they come up nice and crisp. So we're going to go ahead and cut those. So now we have 4 of these. So we're going to set these aside. And then we're going to grab our 3 3/4 inch cardstock, which is this one. And you could just flip this over if you want, or you can erase it. Either way, I'm going to do both just so I don't have to pay attention to it. It's really not going to probably show, but we're going to also cut these diagonally. And I just changed my blades. They're super sharp, so I can cut both pieces at the same time. You just want to make sure everything's there. Give that a cut. So these are going to be layered on this. So now I'm going to get my silicone craft sheet out. And we're going to glue these down. I'm going to use my liquid glue because I like being able to have a moment on these to make sure they're all lined up. You don't want to use a big thick stream of it because you don't want it oozing out the sides. So I just give it a nice thin stream. It's super sticky paper, or super sticky glue, I should say. So it holds really well. And then I find the easiest way to do this is to go with the longest edge, and I kind of hold it with my finger and get it where I want it. Once I'm pretty happy with it, I'll go ahead and lay it down, and since it's liquid glue, you have a moment to just kind of mush it around and get it exactly where you want it. That looks good. So we're going to do this with all 4 pieces. This paper is so happy. I almost hate covering up the other side. These happy little creatures. If you haven't seen this paper, there's a couple of sheets that are all about birthdays with balloons and streamers and cupcakes and everything birthday. There's one that's very outdoorsy, so there's campfires and binoculars and mountains and all kind of things like that. And then there's one that is travel, so they're riding bicycles and unicycles and scooters and everything. And then there's one that is all about dance and entertainment and music. And there's one with hobbies like knitting and baking and art and all of that. So the paper is super fun, and you can give it so many different vibes. So I've got 3 of these down. See how nice with the liquid glue, you just have a little bit of time to kind of get it perfect. I've done this with the Stampin' Seal Plus, which you can totally use. But I found with the liquid glue, I can do it actually quicker because I can kind of put it down and then move it a little bit if I need to. It's a little bit easier to get it all straight. Okay, so cute. All right, so our triangles are done. So that is perfect. And then we are going to take, I'm just going to cover up the one that I wrote the 3 7/8 in, so I don't even have to erase it. But I'm going to layer this piece on here. Let's go ahead and erase this though. This is going to get covered up as well, but I'm going to erase it just because it'll drive me nuts. Look at this paper. How cute is that? It's so cute. This is the outdoor scene. And it's not just for kids. Adults love getting playful cards. Sometimes we feel like we live in a very serious world, so it's very nice to get a card that's playful. All right, that is good. And then the last thing we want to do is get a piece of white cardstock, and we want to cut a piece that's going to layer on this, and this is so that you have a place to write your message to the person who gets this card. So we're going to go ahead and cut a 3.5-inch square. I did not do that ahead of time, so we're going to do it right now. Excuse me. All right. So this is going to be layered on here. I'm going to go ahead and use my Stampin' Seal Plus for this, just because it's going to be easy to layer that on there. All right, so there's our pieces. So now we're going to grab that paper that we had, and so the only real decision you have to make is decide which side you want to write your message to your recipient on, because ultimately it's going to fold. So it can fold either way. So I think we could do it I mean, really, we could do it either way. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these on. I'm going to continue with the liquid glue just because it's working so well, right? And we can ensure that we're getting everything on there straight. And a little of this goes a long way. So I'm just going to layer this on, and there's just a very small little margin of black, so just line it up as best you can. It dries super fast. I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. All right, and then these other triangles, they're all going to get layered on here like that. So we're just going to start adding our glue. Again, you don't want to be too close to the edge or too thick because you don't want it oozing out. It just looks messy that way sometimes. Try not to put my head in your camera. See, by using the liquid glue, you have a moment to kind of slide things around if you need to, which is what makes that liquid glue nice to work with. Okay, and 2 more. Then we get to do the fun stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and put glue on both of these. Excuse me. I'm trying really hard not to cough. Which means I need to clear my throat every now and then, but I think you'd probably rather hear that than coughing. Okay. There we go. And one more. And you could do some different things with this designer series paper. Now, depending on what kind of paper you're using, what kind of look, you could actually make these inner ones different than the outer ones. You can make everything the same, but ultimately, that's what it looks like when it's all closed up. Okay, so now it's time to decorate. So I've grabbed my Memento ink because we have a lot of black going on. I feel like the Memento ink goes well with this. And I want to pull in different colors. So what we're going to be doing is I fussy cut these images out of the paper. So we've got an aardvark on a unicycle, the gator on the bike, this little fox on the moped, and these cute little bunnies. So I figured I'll play with some of those. And then I also used the flower dies that come in the set and cut out some of these random flowers because I wanted to pull in the colors, all the colors that are in this paper. So I wanted to kind of pull in some of the pumpkin pie and some of the pool party and some of the granny apple green. So I went ahead and cut my flowers that way. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my sentiment here so that I know that this is decorated and out of the way. So I picked the Something to Celebrate You to go there. So I'm going to ink that up, and I think I'm just going to put it in the corner here. Here we go. And that is done for now. So now I'm going to kind of close my card. Now I did find that when I close my card, see how it wants to pop open a little? So I was trying to figure out, I've seen people put magnets in it, I've seen people do different things, but I found that if I cut one of these flowers, and I cut it in the same color as the base, so I made it black, and then I fold it in half, roughly in half, like that, and then just simply put, let me grab my silicone sheet, I'll show you what I did. I put 2 drops of glue, basically one on each of these 2 petals. It seemed to work really good on my other card, so hopefully it will work on this one. And then I just put it on this back of this card. The glue is on the back, and I'm just going to hold it for a second to get it sticking. But see how I let this flower stick up a little bit? So it's very unobtrusive, but when I have my card closed, the flowers popped up and it doesn't move. So now when I close it, it stays in place. So that was kind of my little fix there, is adding that little flower so that it'll pop up and hold my card shut when I'm ready to fold it that way. So I just wanted to share that with you. That was kind of my fix that I figured out, and it was an easy way to do it. You can make a little tab there. I've seen people put a magnet under the 2 layers, so when you put this together, they magnet here and here and they stick together. You can do that. I didn't have any really thin magnets, so that was how I came up with fixing it. So now we want to create our mechanism for the middle. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of cardstock, and I have this 2 3/8 inch circle punch. You could also use a circle die, and I'll show you what to do. You want to go ahead and cut a circle out, but you don't want to cut it completely. You want to leave a little bit uncut. So I'm putting this in my circle punch, and I'm leaving a little gap right there. You can see where that gap is, and then I'm going to punch it out. It's 2 layers, okay? So you end up with this, all right? So then you could score it in the middle. I just find it's just as easy to go ahead and fold my circle down. So I'll fold it down like this, and then crease it, and use my bone folder. Give it a nice crease. Let's close the stamp pad. This is scaring me. Okay, so now you've got this little mechanism that folds like that. So that's what your base is going to have on right here. So then I went one step further, and I cut a slightly larger circle out, and this is actually using the Stitched So Sweetly dies, or Stitch Circle dies, something like that. They're retired, so whatever you have that's slightly bigger to layer, you can do that. Or you could cut out a square, you could cut out a different shape. You could just attach this to a piece of black and cut it out. I use the dies, so I'm going to flip this over, grab my liquid glue, and I'm just going to put some glue around the edge. Again, you don't want to use too much because you don't want it to seep over the sides. And I'm just going to layer that on my black circle so it's nice and even. Okay. And I'm going to set this aside for a second because we're going to decorate the front. So I'm going to have a piece that's going to sit on here, but this is plain. I want to do something different. So you could leave it just like this and decorate it. But I wanted to pull in that paper, so I'm going to grab a piece of my paper. Whoops, wrong one. Let's grab the right one, Jill. All right, so we have that. I'm going to get that same circle punch that I used before. And I'm just going to punch out a circle. You don't have to, but I like how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and layer this on here. Oh, look how cute he is. He would be adorable all by himself. But I have other plans. Sorry, little frog. All right. That is layered on there. And then which one should we use? Let's use him. He's cute. So I'm going to use, this is a little wiggler, and it's not a Stampin' Up product, but I will put a link on it in my craft room must-haves on my website. I love these little things. They are little springs, and when you put them on your embellishments, they're super, super cute. So I like to keep a pack of those for fun. So all you have to do is peel off the paper, pop it on your embellishment so he goes that way. I'm going to put him this way. Put that on there, and then just peel off the back. Kind of doing this backwards. And then just figure out where you want to place him. And the good thing about this is you don't want to hang off the bottom, but you can totally hang off the top if you want. So he's going to go right here, and look. How cute is that? That's super, super fun. So we're going to put him on there. And I haven't really decided if I want to put anything else on there yet. So what I'm going to do now is figure out where we're going to glue him down. So we have that half circle that we folded. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put glue only on this half. And then all you have to do is layer this right over the top. And hold him down for just a sec. And make sure he's nice and even. Move him over just a little. And look how cute. So there's your little guy. He's actually a little crooked, so I'm going to fix him. Which is the grace that you get with, hopefully, with liquid glue. Put a little bit more glue down. Okay, that's better. He just needed a little adjustment. All right, so once that's glued down, we'll give that a second to dry. And then we're going to put the liquid glue on the back of the black piece. And that is going to go down on our background paper. You with me so far? Hopefully you are. So you just want to close up your card the way it's supposed to be so that you can kind of eyeball where you want this to go. So I think that looks good. And then just hold it down a moment. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and grab, this is a piece of basic white cardstock that I cut out, and this is one of the dies that's in the Zany Zoo dies. And it happens to fit perfectly with You're Too Wonderful that is also included in the stamp set. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this on here. Maybe about right there. Okay. And we're going to use some dimensionals because this is going to be the stopper for this to hold this up. So we're going to grab our dimensionals and put those on. Got a little glue on my finger. I couldn't live without this take your pick tool. So then you want to kind of just decide how far up you want him, and then place your piece on there so he'll sit nicely just like that. There you go. Look how cute. All right, so now all we have left is to add the rest of our critters. So where do we want to put them? Now the nice thing about this is it's perfectly fine if they hang off toward the middle. You don't want them hanging off here, but they can hang off this way. So he's definitely going to go on this side. So you can glue him directly down or use dimensionals. I think I'm going to glue him down, and I'm going to glue him so I don't want any glue past his tail right here. So he's going to go here. And I'm just kind of keeping my finger where I don't want the glue to pass. So I don't want glue out in the air making a mess. All right, so we'll put him here. This happy little gator. And now we have this adorable little aardvark. So we'll put him down with some glue. Put a little bit on his nose there. And I just fussy cut most of these out. They're super easy to cut. So you could stamp all your images, or you could just stamp some of them and cut out some of them, and they're so much fun. So we'll put him right there. And these little bunnies, I don't even know if I need the bunnies. I mean, we could overlap a little bit. What do you think about the bunnies? I'm not sure. We could put a bunny over here. Maybe we'll put the bunnies on the inside. How about that? So I'm going to put a little glue. You really don't even need these bunnies, but I cut them out, so we're going to use them. Whoever gets this card is going to be happy they're on there. So this little bunny is going to face this way. And this little bunny is going to face this way. And I'm letting their ears stick out a little. It's okay. Look how cute. All right. So now, last but not least, I wanted to kind of pull those colors in that I mentioned. So you can, that's where these little flowers are going to come in. So I think I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. You could also use glue dots on these if you wanted to. We're just going to put glue on all the backs of these. Ooh, that was a lot of glue, Jill. All right. This one needs some. And this is why we work on the silicone craft sheet and not on our work surface. This little guy flipped over. This one's got too much glue. I'm gonna fix that. All right. Everybody else is good. So now we just decide where we want these. I think I'm going to put this bright, happy orange one over here because we don't have a lot of color going on. Let's move these out of the way a little. And maybe add this little one over here. And how about some green over here? And some blue over here. I'm just putting them randomly. I think we're going to do an orange one down here. Like that. And I'm using the putty tip to grab these so I don't get my fingers any stickier than I already have. And I think we'll just put this blue one right here. All right. So there we go. Our card is done. Get my mess out of the way. So here he goes. So he sits up nicely. Put him in my camera view here for you. Fold my flower up. He's a little sticky yet. I've got to let him dry, but look how cute this is. Who wouldn't love to get this card? You open it up. There's plenty of room for you to put your message. And I know I'm holding him up at a weird angle, but look how adorable. It's so cute. So you could have a lot of different fun with all kinds of papers for this card. This one's still drying, so I don't want to fold it up, but I'll show you the other one I did. Same exact paper, except I used the musical page. So we've got, it says happy birthday to you. The little turtle is singing. How cute is that? He's got the little wobbler on him. I also have a bear. He's got a little wobbler on him as well. And then you've got the cute little koala with the cupcakes. And then inside is the something great to celebrate you. And I added the little flower over here to keep it all closed like that. And so to close it up, it does fit in a regular envelope. So you just open it all up flat. And then you can fold it. I found it easiest to fold like this. And then you can slide it right into the envelope and they'll see your message right away. And then it's pretty easy when they open it to figure out what they need to do. So it all wants to kind of go right back where it was. So super cute. Let me pull my camera up just a little bit so you can see them both side by side. So basically the same card design, just different papers and different color combos. So let me know which one you love the most. I hope you enjoy making this card. Again, it's called the 3D Corner Pop-Up Card. It's super easy. I think it takes you longer to glue the pieces together than anything else. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I will have links to my online website, which includes my online store, and also that's where you can find the little wobblers, which is in my craft room must-haves on my website, www.wanderingstamper.com. So check that out as well. And all of my cutting instructions and layout designs will be on there for you to use as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a chance to get crafty.